What's up, bros? It's getting hot in the magic community out there, and it's time for a hot take from old Nikki G. These creators, what incredible hubris they have. Listen to me, I know the way. That's what they say. Come on, dude. You couldn't find your way out of a wet paper bag. Now they're going to tell you what you need to do with hybrid mana? What a bunch of tunes. By the same token, people want to be told what to think, either to confirm their bias or to steelman their arguments. So we as creators endeavor to provide balanced, nuanced, and thoughtful opinions for the mass consumption of the YouTube animals out there, so here you go. Alright, let's establish what we're actually talking about here. Recently, Gavin Verhey, listen, that dude skeeves me out, just gonna say it. Something about him, he looks like he sleeps in a warren or a den, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, he recently floated the idea of changing the hybrid mana rules relating to Commander. See, when they designed hybrid mana, they designed it so it could be used more broadly. Those costs can be cast with either mana, so you can run it in decks that run either, right? That's more pertinent to constructed formats, though. I'm sure you've all seen hybrid mana symbols. You know, here are some rulings on the hybrid mana. Hybrid mana symbols appear only in costs, such as the mana cost in the upper right corner of a card, or the cost to activate an activated ability. A card with a hybrid mana symbol and its mana cost is each color that appears in its mana cost, regardless of what mana was spent to cast it. For example, that Death Cult Rogue is blue and black, even if you cast it with only blue mana. As you cast a spell or activate an ability with hybrid mana symbols in its cost, you choose which color of mana you will spend for the hybrid mana symbol. You do this at the same time you would choose modes or choose a value for X in its mana costs. Hybrid mana symbols, including monocolored hybrid mana symbols, do count toward devotion for their colors. However, they add 1 devotion to each of their corresponding colors and 1 to their collected colors. For example, a blue-black mana will add 1 devotion to Phoenix, God of Deception, and not 2. Now, the Commander rule that this runs afoul of is the color identity rule that's only applicable to Commander 903.4. The Commander variant uses color identity to determine what cards can be in a deck with a certain commander. The color identity of a card is the color or colors of any mana symbols in that card's mana cost or rules text, plus any colors defined by its characteristic defining abilities or color indicator. Color identity is something that was kind of made up when Commander was invented as a format, heretofore known as EDH or Elder Dragon Highlander in the ancient tongue. It's a restriction, and as always here, restriction breeds creativity. There's always a ruling, you know, and there's already a ruling on hybrid mana. Hybrid mana represents mana symbols of both colors when determining a card's color identity. There it is, right there, man. We might as well just end this video right here. But you know what, man? That little rat wants to change it. Now, if you explain color identity rules to, say, your mom, right? She's fairly smart, you know. She never graduated college, but she does her own taxes. She mostly reads romance novels, but the point is she can read, right? Well, that would say Agnes's color identity is what? You know, read Agnes to your mom. It's fairly plain. It's Jund, right? Read the rule. Read the mana symbols. None of it is reminder text like extort. She would say, well, honey, I see red and green and black. I would say red, green, black. Nope. Sorry, Mom, you didn't use your thinking here, you idiot. It's mono red. Oh, so it can go in red decks and Jund decks? No, Mom. Why do I try to explain this to such a monstrous fool of a mom? It can go in Jeskai, right? You can just pick the color identity anytime you want. Basically any deck that can run red. And then your mom would say, wow, you're so smart, my son. I love you so much, you little urchin. Because back when designers made hybrid mana, they wanted it to work that way, so we retroactively changed it in 2025, Mom. It doesn't float. Who cares? Not everything is designed for Commander, and rightfully so. Now look, you may be saying to yourself, Nikki G is simplifying things. He's throwing spaghetti at the wall. Yeah, maybe a little. In my book, it doesn't matter what you intended to design. You designed what you designed, right? When I invented the rodeo burger, I was just looking for a tasty snack, and that's what I had left. Did I know it would become a taste sensation around the world? No, I didn't. The minute I created it, it went out of my hands into the earth, man. People try to invent diabetes medication, right? Next thing you know, everybody's losing their buccal fat on Ozempic, all these Hollywood actresses. It's for people with diabetes, settle down. Well, we also have the appeal to tradition counter argument. Why shouldn't it change? Because some rules committee made it in like 2007? I mean, come on, dude. Things are meant to change, brother. I'm not against change if it makes sense, all right? There used to be a tuck rule. and the dies rule. Those things were changed for the better, I think. It makes sense to have access to your commander, and the dies rule used to be a replacement effect, and they fixed that, so commanders like Elenda actually functioned. Those things were well considered and welcome changes. Now this hybrid mana change, if it goes through, it just kind of invalidates a core tenet of Commander. You can only run cards in your commander's color identity. That's it. This has been an identifying factor. Not because of tradition or something, not because Sheldon Menery and his bros pontificated about it in the supersized sauna that they made the rule set in, but because it's core to the experience of deck building. It's the restriction the format is built on. Now what about phyreixian mana, right? That was designed to be able to be run in any deck, just pay the life. In constructed formats, you can run Noxious Revival. It's a green phyreixian for an instant. Put target card from a graveyard on top of its owner's library in any deck. Not in Commander though. Why? It was designed to be run in any deck, right? The designers made it that way because it wasn't designed for Commander, dude. It's got that green color identity. If you start tugging on hybrid mana, you got to start tugging on phyreixian mana. We have all sorts of rules that run contrary to this just in the base game outside Commander. If you had a card that gave red creatures vigilance and green creatures trample, Agnes would get both boons. He's both. But not for color identity? Come on. This, if anything, reinforces the color identity rules as it currently applies to hybrid mana cards. Now we also have these suspend cards like Total Recall or whatever the heck it's called. Hey Cohagen, get your ass to Mars, there's mutants on Mars. Quiet. It has no casting cost, but it's clearly a blue card, right? It has blue in the rules text on the card. Come on, man. It's Ancestral Vision, not Total Recall. So that's obviously blue because of the activated ability, so color identity kicks in. Maybe that one's a bad example. All right, listen, how about Grist, the Plague Swarm? He's got a hybrid color identity symbol on the backside. I mean, obviously this is meant to be played in any constructed deck that can run green, right? But Commander has this caveat. In the Commander variant, a double face card's color identity is determined by the mana costs and mana symbols in the rules text of both faces combined. If either face has a color indicator or a basic land type, those are also considered. It's all about color identity, but the designers made it, you know? So should they say ignore the rules for this card, run it in any green deck? Do they just not like the rules the ancient gods of Commander laid down so many moons ago? Now that Wizards is in charge, are they going to gut the format to make way for their design mistakes? Really, it's like a sweater, dude. The Commander Rules Committee over the years made this beautiful mosaic sweater. It's genius in a way, and the appeal of the format is pretty obvious. Build around a legendary creature, its mechanics, its color identity, and once that sandbox is established, you get to play in it. It's a defined little sandbox and it's beautiful, brother. But I'm mixing metaphors here. I was talking about a sweater, then I went into a sandbox. But once you start tugging on threads in the sweater, the whole thing may fall apart. You tug over here, it undoes a knot all the way over in the other armpit. I mean, we already touched on grist and stuff like that, color indicators. Does that unravel on the other side if you take apart hybrid mana? I mean, look at these monstrosities, dude. Obviously, if you're playing modern or standard, you can play these new Capenna cards in any deck you want, right? But this ain't that, man. This is Commander. We have color identity. It just is what it is. I'm not going to overthink it. Let's apply the common sense test here. Give it to a 5th grader. Hell, feed yourself some Tylenol. See if you develop some autism, dude. Any way you slice it, this is a green and white card. This is a black and blue card. And this is a Jund card. Man, it's just delulu to think that these aren't multicolored cards. They're right there in the damn card. Reading the card explains the card. The color identity rule is clear. Just ask yourself, is this a blue card? Yes. Is it a white card? Yes. Then what are we doing here, B? Listen. If they decide to change it, and, I would be a little sus as to why they were doing it with Lorwyn Returned right around the corner or whatever the heck they're calling it. But if they change it, then, what are you going to do? They own it. It's their game, dude. I think it's dumb, but I think a lot of things are dumb. Space is dumb, right? It kills you if you go outside. Why the heck does everyone want to go there? In the grand scheme, I would bitch about it and then I would go flog myself in the corner as I always do. It wasn't even on my radar until my buddy Kelvin brought it up in a passionate argument in favor of it. This dude wants those cards. He wants those hybrid mana symbols, brother. I don't recall the specifics, but it seemed coherent at the time, though I may have been inebriated. You know, in the grand scheme of things, why are we even talking about this, man? Because we're little fanboys of a card game and we like to run around and talk about this stuff because that's how we have fun. You know, ultimately Magic dudes are just rules dudes. They want to debate rules all day long. It's fun to make ourselves crazy. The savage heat is searing up the planet and there's all kinds of wild stuff going on, but you know, it's fun to distract yourself sometimes because that's better, Commander, brother. You know how I feel about it. I don't think they should change it. You know, I think they should just leave it alone, dude. The game's already fine. We built this, you know, over the years, we built this tower that we play in, you know, this tower of rules. You can't just start pulling out pieces of the tower. The whole thing's going to collapse on your face. Nikki G, better Commander, signing off.